Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ti. Today we're going to be discussing some budget-friendly options for those of us that would like to try starting seeds indoors. So I'm what people would refer to as a panorama gardener, and that's because I started during the panorama, which made me very resourceful in finding items to use to start my seeds indoors. I was super eager, but not wanting to really purchase anything through the mail. So I then had to kind of look around my house to see what I could use. So before I get into it, remember you can always use the winter sowing method. I did a video on that previously, and that is a easy and affordable way to start seeds, not indoors, but outdoors. It takes a lot of the workload off of you. So if you're interested in that, I will have that link down below. Before you start anything, you need some seeds. And for seeds, I really recommend, if you are maybe unsure if you'd like to continue this process, just go ahead and use seeds from anything that you purchase from the store. I tend to lean toward buying organic produce. So if you go ahead and take seeds from some organic peppers or maybe some tomatoes, cucumbers, there's a high chance that you will be able to get some germination going. So if you don't want to invest anything at all, that would be the route to go. If you are able to spend on seeds, go ahead and maybe look for some affordable seeds. So I compiled a list of affordable seed sites. Some of these are new to me, but I checked them out and the price was, I think, $2.50 and under. Some of them are running a sale right now, and I will note that for you as well. So we have the Russet Garden, MI Gardener, AmericanMeadows.com for flowers. We have Bentley Seeds, 99heirlooms.com, Botanical Interest. Sometimes you could find seeds that are $2 and change on there, but oftentimes they are running a sale, so you could check for that. The Dollar Tree, your big box stores, and then I found southernseeds.com that is currently running a nice sale. So after you purchase your seeds or figure out what seeds you want to start or grow, I would recommend sorting your seeds based on time period. So sometimes on the back of your seed packets, it will say start 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost date, or maybe 6 to 8 weeks, or 8 to 10 weeks, something of that nature. If it doesn't have a time on your seed packet, I would recommend trying out the Farmer's Almanac. They do give you a free garden planner based on your growing zone, and that could be really helpful when deciding what you need to start at what time. So as far as containers, we have different containers that I was able to find around the house, and I will just go over a few of them. So we have the tried and true egg carton. You have the plastic ones as well as these recyclable ones. For the recyclable ones, I usually use both sides to plant, so the egg portion and this portion here. For the plastic ones, I normally use the top part as a sort of humidity dome to help germinate the seeds. But my issue with egg cartons is I feel like they're just not deep enough, but they do work well for maybe your lettuce, your spinach, just your little leafy greens work well in these. The next item I found around my home was the previous owner had left some plant trays, and these are perfect because they're literally used for plants. So it has the holes in the bottom, your separate sections, and I would just make sure that I rinse these out really well with some bleach solution or some dish detergent. Another item that I used were solo cups, and these were great for peppers and tomatoes, things that would be staying in the containers for a little bit longer than your normal seedlings. Just make sure that whatever container that you're using has holes in the bottom. If they don't, go ahead and add those. Another type of soil holding thing that I would use, my chair is making so much squeaky noises, sorry about that guys, is a toilet paper roll. You just close it at the bottom, and these are perfect. And then I would also use the paper towel rolls, and I found these would be great for any plants that have like a long taproot, like your peas. So I would cut these in half, fold it at the bottom, and I would plant my seeds in these. And your standard bottles. I know we use these for winter sowing, but if you wanted to start seeds in it, I would just cut it a little bit shorter, put holes in the bottom, and just make sure after you have your containers with the holes that you're putting some type of tray underneath it. You want that tray not to just hold the seedlings, but for use of bottom watering. You want to make sure that you're bottom watering your seedlings. So you want there to be about a 1/2 inch of lip in order to hold that water. I would also use things like this. These are just your fruit containers, and it already had holes and a humidity dome for you. So I really enjoyed using this. I would use this for maybe one variety, or sometimes I would use a cardboard and separate them in the middle and use it for multiple seedlings. But I enjoyed using these. And then this was a tote that I would use to hold some of the containers, nice and clear so that light could go in. Another item that is really good for this is yogurt containers. So that would be really good, so you could keep your seedlings separate and they could have their own planting container, and it will kind of be as if you're using a solar cup. It's just a little bit smaller, but I find that yogurt containers work really well. Like I said, just make sure it has holes in the bottom. So the next step after gathering your seeds and the containers would be finding a type of soil medium to use for your seeds. So I would recommend just going with your basic potting mix, something that is affordable. I would recommend Vigoro. You get a good size bag, about 35 liters if I remember correctly, and it's about $8 to $9 for that bag. You will sometimes find little chunks of bark, and I would just say try to sift that out or take it out with your hand if possible. After you've had your seeds, your soil, your containers, the next thing you want to do is make sure that you label your seedlings. Especially if you're just starting out, you may not be able to identify them as well if they're just pushing up. So labels can be really helpful. So I have used things like popsicle sticks to label. And whenever I wanted my labels to go outdoors with the plant, I would then put I would then put packing tape over the top. That way the water does not fade the writing on the popsicle sticks. I've also used skewers and put like a piece of paper over it, put packing tape over that, and I put those outdoors and I use those for my labels indoors. Another great item to use to label is just your painter's tape. So you're just able to write on this with some Sharpies, and it works quite well. So after you have all your supplies and you're getting ready to sow your seeds, you may be wondering, where do I put this now? I don't have any lights and I don't have any shelves. What I did, I just used stools or even cardboard boxes, just anything that I could rest my seedling trays on, so as close to the window light as I possibly can. You may also want to create more humidity for them, and you could do that by adding some cling wrap over the top, and just be aware of when the seedlings pop up. Once the seedlings pop up, go ahead and remove that. I live in an older home, so I have radiators as my heating system, which works really well for this, because for my warmer crops that may need some heat to germinate, I'm able to have them at the window, but also have the heat from the radiator warming up that soil. So that works really well. So if you have that system, that is perfect. What you would find though is when you have it close to the window, you'll see that your seedlings are going to be stretching towards that window because it's just not enough light. What I have done was had a piece of cardboard on the other side that I wrapped in a foil paper, and this was used as a reflector to balance out the light that was coming in from the window, and that tends to straighten out the plants a bit. And then for anything that was still stretching too much, I just repotted it deeper. Another option for giving the seeds some warmth is if you have maybe an older fridge where the heat goes up, you could put it on top of the refrigerator, and you could also put it on top of the dryer. While it's drying your clothes, it could also be helping to germinate your seedlings. The last point that I would like to go over is the water. So if your water is chlorinated, I would advise using distilled water instead, or what I've done is gathered rainwater during the summer, and I keep those inside to water my houseplants or to water my seedlings. So rainwater is a great option, and whenever it rains, just put out a bucket and try to capture as much as possible. I think I have covered everything. I guess for when you're mixing the soil, you can use an old bucket, or I've used an old baby bathtub to mix my soil, whatever works. So those are all my tips and recommendations and supplies that I would use if I'm starting seeds indoors without my system. If you have any questions, suggestions, leave them down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.